What's up, guys? Welcome to the Small World YouTube channel. I'm your host, Small Time Hero. And let's talk Percy Jackson, episode 7. I go down with the ship. I want to warn you early if you hear yelling or like playing of any sort. That is my daughter in the background. You might be able to hear it through the mic, you might not. But if you do, that's my daughter. Also, I would just like that would be her. I would also just like to say that this episode wasn't very long. I think the runtime on it was like 31 minutes without like the flashbacks of what happened last episode and what's to come. So this review won't be long. But also, thank you for viewing. I see you guys running up my views. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you share with your friends, your Percy Jackson lover friends, and like, subscribe, share the channel, come back. We're gonna come out with an slate for this year. I've been really planning. So I'm really excited to bring you guys what I have been planning. So I can't wait to see what we can, get accomplished this year. Moving forward, let's get into the episode. So right when we open up the episode, basically we see a flashback of what Annabeth kind of went through with Thalia passing. And like in the episode, we kind of get some dialogue about what actually happened in this scene. But we see Chiron basically telling the campers of Camp Half Blood that Thalia, daughter of Zeus, fought valiantly. Ooh, Lord, valiantly. And for her efforts and her sacrifice, she's been turned into a tree, which is a barrier for the camp to keep all the other kids safe. So when I first was reading the book, I always thought this was like really, really weird. But the way they paint Thalia throughout this series, it makes so much sense. She was a protector of Annabeth. She was a protector of Luke. She was a protector of, you know, of a lot of people. And her brother, we'll get into Jason Grace later. But yeah, she was a protector of all these people. So it does kind of make sense to make what her sacrifice be the protection around the camp. I think that makes sense. It you know it flows. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of.
So after we get this flashback sequence, we also get like kind of a dream sequence, which I mean, if it's a flashback, I guess it's a dream too. But we get this dream sequence where basically Annabeth is, I want to say she's given the idea of the fleece helping Thalia and like bringing her back to life. Because initially, the whole reason why they were going to get the fleece was just to heal the tree, was just to like make sure the barrier was, secure. But now Annabeth is like, hold on, I've seen what this can do. I saw how close to death I was. Maybe this ancient magic can bring her back. And I'm not mad at Annabeth. I think it was weird that she had this conversation with Luke, but I'm not mad at Annabeth. And her being tied up with this with the fleece on her is just really funny cuz it's like it's kind of indicative of their relationship where Luke is he cares for Annabeth. He loves her like a little sister. It's a little different in the book, but we're not going to get into that. We're going to go with this one. But he loves her like a little sister, but he also has this thing that he feels like he is obligated and destined to do. So with that being said, she's, comfortable as well, I mean, I don't know, it's a yacht. It's a yacht. So she could have got like a stateroom or some shit. He didn't have to put her in a dungeon on a fucking cot. So maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I just, you know, maybe okay, but yeah, so with what Annabeth is kind of depicting is like this tortured situation that Luke is going through where he knows what he's doing isn't quite right. I think he believes in it, but I think that he's being pushed into believing any of the things that's going on in his head. And like we see throughout this episode, Kronos has a lot of control with a lot of different demigods. If you get close enough, basically he has control over you. And I thought that was crazy because it was just like, so like he can manipulate every situation as long as he's in close proximity. So imagine when this nigga wake up. Imagine when he like, hello, I'm here. Like they like fucking puppets. So I don't know. Like it's one of those things where it's just kind of like, I don't know, leave it alone. But of course we need a show. So of course Luke is not gonna leave it alone. But like I do think that it's indicative of who he is. Like he's not all bad. And I know that the series does try to bring some humility to Luke and make him a bit like you're like, oh damn, that's really fucked up, like when you find out his whole story. But they're making him more sympathetic. That's the word I was looking for. They're making him more sympathetic in the series, which I'm not mad at. Like I said, the series changes don't bother me, but I do think that like it's a driving force. He has to be a sympathetic, I don't want to call him an anti-hero. I don't know, villain, a sympathetic villain. Yeah. So yeah, I really do like this though. So we finally get into the meat and potatoes. Well, we finally start eating the episode, and we see the hippocampi like swim away, which I was really really excited about the hippocampi. I wasn't able to do that episode because I had so much going on between my birthday, my daughter's birthday, but I want to say that the hippocampi, like Grover said, are part of like my favorite parts of the book. They help a whole lot more within the book, but I love that they actually showed up. Um so we also get to see Aiden. And Aiden is an Aphrodite's son. So the children of Aphrodite have, powers just like any other child of a god. But the children of Aphrodite have a very specific power that not all of them are blessed with, and some it's stronger with it's stronger with others than it is with like some of her kids. So Aiden is one of the first Aphrodite's children that we're gonna see. And while I don't remember him from the book, so while I don't remember him from the book, I will say that he uses charm speak. And like the stronger the child is, the stronger the charm speak is. And charm speak for Aphrodite's child is basically persuasion. They can kind of make you do whatever they want you to do by just, suggestively saying it. Like, hey, don't you want to give me that Corvette? And you're like, sure, Aphrodite child. Here's my Corvette. Go drive that bitch. So we do have a very very prominent Aphrodite's child within Selena Beauregard. We haven't seen her, so hopefully further down the line, like they said, I think we've been greenlit for season 4. Woohoo! But also I think maybe she should pop up in season 3. I'm not really sure when she'll pop up, but that's one of the first Aphrodite children that I remember. And then of course we have more Aphrodite's children further on within the show. So yes. So when they speak of charm speak, that is an Aphrodite child specific power. And it's just the power of persuasion, being able to make people do whatever you want them to do. Once again, we are really, really using these Cyclops voice things like throughout the whole season. And like I told you on episode 1, that shit creeped me out. But like the more they use it, I guess the less creepy it is for me. But like yeah, they use it a lot. But I think it is cool that like Tyson remembered what Allison said and he's using her voice. I think that's cool. So we see basically the I don't want to say that, well, I guess we see the trio, which is Clarice, Percy, and Clarice, Percy, and Tyson capture Aiden, and they basically tie him up and take his key card. So they're going to go get back on the ship, and they're devising a plan. Clarice definitely has a point. I think that they should definitely go after the fleece, because if we don't get the fleece, then what was all of this shit for? But I also know that Percy ain't going nowhere without Annabeth. He risked the whole fucking situation because he wanted to save Annabeth. And so Percy wasn't going nowhere without Annabeth. So I knew like this conversation was gonna be a thing. And like it's so funny like how Clarice has no real finesse. She just kind of like bull rushes her way into most things. And while I will say it's funny here because it doesn't work, well, it does kind of work because she gets the key card, but it's funny here. But like, you need that. Like, you need that Aries spirit, like within someone or yourself to make that shit happen. Because sometimes being nice, being cunning, being, able to fight the best just isn't enough. Well, being able to fight the best would be enough. But yeah, you need that extra piece. And I like Clarice. And I love that she adds in that extra piece. We do get this in the Sea of Monsters book, but it's definitely deepened and personified here in this show. So while the I said trio, but it's actually four of them, is Grover, Clarice, Tyson, and Percy. While they're getting ready to have these kind of conversations, Percy does one thing that I absolutely hate in human beings and also in characters. He uses something that she gave him vulnerably against her. And I absolutely hate that shit. Excuse me. I absolutely hate that shit. Like, the whole time I was watching, I was like, not my Percy. My Percy wouldn't act like that now. Now hold on. I've been rocking with y'all all season, but right here, this right here, Percy would not do that. But you know what? He absolutely would when it came to saving Annabeth. So I'm gonna take it back, but I do definitely feel a certain kind of way. But absolutely, like, he took what she told him in her most vulnerable state and he used it against her, and it was just the worst move possible. Like, who does that, Percy? Who does that? So one thing that I will say is that in the show, like, there's, because Kronos can't be trusted, and of course he's creating issues between everyone. He's creating dissent in the team that he needs. Like, he's creating issues for Luke with his own number two with Allison, and she's going and doing shit half cocked, and then when they don't move, like, and I think that's a definite, like, hello, something's wrong when you trying to make some shit happen for a person and they like, you're not moving fast enough, you're not moving fast enough, I'm gonna choke you out because you're not moving fast enough. Like, that part of it says, hey, he's using you, he does not care, you're not doing the right thing, this might not be the right fight for you. Like, I feel like that part of Luke is like there, but it's just like they're showing you how this entity is manipulating everyone in the situation, and no matter what, he's just trying to get back. He is just trying to get back. And so I feel like that was like really on display, especially like with like Allison, Kronos basically telling Allison to go handle Annabeth, which I feel like, yeah, you get her out of the way because you'll never win shit with Annabeth on your case. You not gonna win shit with her on your case. You need her, and if you're against her, you're fucked. like as simple as it is, that's what it is. And then you also have like Luke, basically he's basically force choking Luke. Like, I don't know, he's giving him a force headache or some bullshit, but basically he's making Luke hurt. Like, he's like, nigga, like, feel this shit, feel this shit. And Luke is in pain. And like, throughout the book, they talk about how weathered Luke looks and how much, he ages and his skin starts to crack and all kind of shit. And it's just like, you can tell he's basically beating him up. So of course, like, this I don't know, it just tells you that this shit is not it. So finally, past that, we see Luke is also able to get the fleece put on Kronos, and so they can begin that healing process of Kronos, which, like, I guess you have to, like, I don't know, maybe it takes like time, I don't know. We're gonna actually see on the finale how long the fleece actually takes to work its magic. But while, that's going on, Allison and Luke and everybody are watching and, seeing what's going on with Thanos. We see with Thanos, goodness. I've been prepping for Avengers shit. Yeah, I gotta excuse me. I've been prepping for Avengers shit with Kronos. I don't know, Kronos, Thanos, So we really get into like the middle of the episode and we start seeing what's going on. We see Clarice basically looking for weapons, and she comes up on some of Luke's people or Luke's team, and she's listening to them and also picking out her weapons of choice, which I thought was like really, really cool because she was like, man, fuck. Well, no, actually, she did not get rid of the broomstick, which I thought was cool, but she did definitely get her some celestial bronze because she knew them last Dragonians was gonna be there. So yeah, I really like Clarice, And in the books, I hated her. Like, of course you did because it was all from Percy's like perspective, but like in the books, I hated Clarice. Like, I was not a fan. So in the show, like, I'm really rooting for her, and I'm like, oh my god, this feels so weird. But yes, go Clarice, and she is handling herself. By God, you mean. We also see Percy. Percy sets up like one of the people that's taking care of the Pegasus to like basically get lost. And Percy finds the Pegasus. Here is my only issue with seeing Blackjack. First of all, it's fucking Blackjack. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Okay, y'all don't understand, but Blackjack is one of the most well, not most, but he is a very integral part of the Percy Jackson lore. He is a loyal steed to Percy, and he's one of my favorite characters. Also, Blackjack cusses, and they couldn't put it into like a children's show, but Blackjack cusses. So yes, that is very much so one of my favorite things. So Percy walks up on Blackjack, and we don't get internal monologue, which is okay. I know that the books are from Percy's perspective, so we would get that internal monologue, but we don't. I thought it was gonna be like the guinea pigs, which I got enough of the personification, so I don't really need this. But yes, I did want to hear. I did. I did. Because in my head, he sounds like an Italian mob boss. Blackjack sounds like an Italian mob boss. But anyway, so Percy and Blackjack actually form a relationship. And here is the thing Pegasus. So, of course, a lot of you guys were probably introduced to Pegasus or Pegasi in the Hercules movie, right? Hercules had a Pegasus. So, Percy is a son of Poseidon. And Pegasus are actually like something that Poseidon created. Like the waves, it's like I can't think of it exactly, but it's more like the horses gallop like waves basically, and he took that idea and made horses. But yeah, so that's why it's kind of like mythologically factoidal. I don't know. But yeah, so Blackjack is like he is one of my favorite. I love Blackjack. Love, 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 love. So I was really, really excited to see him. And then on his entrance, oh my God. That's what I need. That's what I need. Okay, so yes. We do actually see Percy find Annabeth after he frees Blackjack. We see Percy find Annabeth, and he still has her hat, and he cuts her free. Which I will say, when Luke comes back while Percy's there and he's hidden, and Annabeth basically wrap the rope around her arm. Like, I don't know if you guys watch my live stream, but in my live stream, I was like, girl, remember you supposed to be tied up. I was so worried about that. But apparently she had rewrapped it, so it wasn't an issue. But yeah, so Annabeth and Percy basically have a conversation through Annabeth and Luke. And Annabeth tells Percy to go find the fleece, come back there, get her so we can get the fuck on. I gotta stop doing that because I know I'd be banging on the thing. But basically she tells him, go find everybody, get no, go find the fleece, get the fleece. We gotta go. So while Clarice was listening to Luke's Luke's followers, they basically say they finna go beat up Annabeth and in not so many words hurt her. And Clarice has a difference of personality. She's just like, because at first it was like, nothing's gonna stop me from getting the fleece. Nothing's gonna keep me from getting this fleece. I'm going to get this fleece. I need to get this fleece. And she hears them saying, oh, we finna go whoop Annabeth ass. We finna beat her ass. And she like, that's my friend. I gotta save her. And in that moment, I was just like, that's the Clarice. That's it. That's it. So basically, Clarice basically whoops everybody's ass that was after Annabeth. Oh, before I forget again, I just want to say that the conversation that Luke's crew was having coming into the building about the Mythomagic cards. Mythomagic is a huge thing. It's probably gonna pop up more season 3 with the D'Angelo siblings, which I mentioned on my live stream also. So if you want to go check that out, that is live on YouTube. But also, it's probably gonna come up more with the D'Angelo siblings. So we'll be looking forward to seeing more of that. But they also have a conversation about not being afraid of Zeus or being afraid of, any of the gods anymore or any of their parents. And one of them is like, can we just not mention him by name? And that is a huge deal in the books. Like calling the guys by their names just willy nilly is like frowned upon, not done. You don't do it. So to do it in this situation is like the ultimate disrespect, but at the same time, it's also saying like some people are like, cool, we with the Titans, and some of them are like, yeah, we with the Titans. Like it's not the same vibrato. It's like woo, woo, like that kind of shit. So after Percy goes to go get the fleece, Luke and Annabeth have a conversation. And Annabeth basically tells Luke, "Hey, I think that the fleece can bring back Thalia. And I don't mean like bring back the tree, I mean bring her back as a person." And Luke is like, "No, it can't, and if it could, Kronos would have told me." But here's my thing with that. One, why would he tell you that it could do something to help you? He doesn't want to help you, he wants you to help him. Two, if it can bring back Kronos, why in the fuck wouldn't it be able to bring back Thalia? Somebody explain that shit to me. Because he was just acting like it was just a foreign concept that this fucking fleece can bring back Thalia. But he just used this fleece to bring back Annabeth from the brink of death. And you're going to bring back a cut up Kronos. And yeah, I get it. Maybe dead is dead and no heartbeat, this, that, and the third. And we don't know how she became a tree in the first place because we weren't there. We don't know how it happened. All of that shit. But Kronos was cut up into pieces, stuffed into Tartarus at the bottom of fucking Tartarus. But we are going to bring him back. We gonna bring him back. Don't make fucking sense. It just doesn't make sense. This conversation is just stupid. And I also feel like she was having this conversation on purpose just to buy Percy some time. So yeah, like, that thing. And so we see Percy basically after, he lets Blackjack go, he goes and he does find the state's room with the fleece in there. And basically at first, like, Percy's having inner dialogue, I think, and then he walks up and that's when Kronos basically psyche whams him. And, we see like the conversation, we see excuse me, we see Percy basically like have the same reaction to the interaction with Kronos as Luke does. Like he hurts these demigods when he talks to them. And like basically, they have the conversation about the great prophecy. Like I said, we won't talk about the great prophecy until, it comes, but it does deal with a child of the big three. We'll see the age of 16. Okay, I'm talking about it. So the child of the big three will see the age of 16 and see the world in a slumber or a sleep. And basically, that child will either raise Olympus or tear down Olympus. And of course, we've learned that prophecies don't mean exactly what they say. And that's one of the big themes of Percy Jackson. Like, you can have a prophecy, but it does not mean that it's going to be exactly what it says it is. So that's one of those things where it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, but, right? So, Kronos is basically goating Percy to leave the fleece because he can't physically make Percy leave the fleece. And so he's basically like, don't you want to know don't you want to know the great prophecy? And at first Percy thinks about it. And then he snatched that fucking fleece. I was like, yeah, yeah. Like I was so excited because I was just like, man, Percy, get that shit. And he was like, okay, got you. And snatched that bitch. I was like, yeah, that's my Percy Jackson. He redeems himself from that bullshit with Clarice. But yeah, so Percy snatches the fleece. And basically he like, man, I'm out of this bitch. And Luke basically comes back to the state's room and he puts together that Percy was the person that was sneaking out of the he basically puts together that Percy was the person that was sneaking out of the door when they heard the creak or whatever, and he figured out that Annabeth lied and all that good shit. And so once that ensues, we get a fight. We get a good ass fight. Actually, we get a two-stage fight. So we have Luke and Percy duking it out. And also, like, you don't get to see it in the show, but in the book, Percy is taught by Luke. Like, they have an extensive relationship before, like, we find out that Luke is, working for Kronos. And Percy got his first, like, hand to hand combat from Luke. And so, like, this is kind of like, well, it's going to happen, a few more times, but this is one of those times where it's just like, I taught you, so like let's see what you learn, basically. And Percy holds his own. He in the book, Percy does a lot of rolling, like from side to side, so like out of the way, and so I love that they definitely put that in the fight choreography. We also see Clarice versus Five, and she's like, "Yeah, I like my eyes. This my kind of fight," and she whooped their ass. She whoops they fucking ass, and then after she whooped their ass, she like, "Yeah, I needed that." And you know what? Like, I love this Clarice. I just love her. She's so amazing. Oh my God, I love Clarice. So yes, so after all of that happens, Clarice whoop their ass. She get Annabeth, and Annabeth's like, "I thought you went for the fleece." And she's like, "Yeah, but I heard what they were planning to do, and I couldn't let a friend go out like that." So Clarice's heart grows 10 times bigger, and we find out that Clarice is um now a Whoville person. No, I'm playing. But also, like, yeah, Clarice, cares about Annabeth, and she understands that Annabeth saves her life multiple fucking times. So I appreciate it. And also the whole reason why, but yeah, so Annabeth, like, Clarice knows that Annabeth saves her life many of times on this quest. So she does go and take care of Annabeth. So we get down to Percy and Luke fighting, and basically Percy gets out of the stateroom and he runs, and like he's trying to get down, so he's pressing the buttons and pressing the buttons, and like we think he's gonna get away, and ooh, backbiter straight to the fucking stomach. Backbiter is Luke's sword, and it goes straight into his fucking stomach, and like I don't know, I was like, oh fuck, like I was like really upset that Percy got stabbed, but yes, Percy gets stabbed, and like at first I'm like, damn, what we gonna do? We ain't got no ambrosia, which I don't know if we're gonna introduce ambrosia or not. The elixir of gods, but Percy gets stabbed, and like the first thought Percy has is put the golden fleece on it, and he does, and like he heals himself, and I was just like, yeah, hell yeah, because I wasn't even thinking that. I was just like, hell yeah, yeah. So yeah, so Percy he heals himself with the golden fleece, and once he's healed, he gets out of the elevator and he meets up with Clarice and Annabeth and Grover and Tyson. Grover and Tyson basically call Sally and they're like, "Hey, look, they use that you have your parents ever told you like you have this one time to call me. I don't care if you're drunk, I don't care if you're high, I don't care what's going on. I will come pick you up and not ask any questions and take you home and make sure you get straight." Basically Tyson pulled that one time. He was like, "Hey Sally, so Percy got drunk and threw up over the car." No, not for real, but like, yeah, Tyson calls Sally. He like, "Shit, I know who will come when I call." And so he calls Sally, and Sally basically picks them up, but not before Percy gives Clarice the fleece and puts her on the back of Blackjack. And he basically tells her, "You need to get there. Nobody's gonna stop you, and this is what it means to basically complete your quest." So they send Annabeth off, and they all get in the car with Sally, and they drive off in the car with Sally, and like Sally, like, "So what? Wait, what the hell is going on?" And so that's kind of like, so when we get to the towards the end of the episode, Percy is in the car. He's in a blue Prius, which blue is Percy's favorite color. He's in a blue Prius with his mom, his brother, and Annabeth and Grover, and they're actually having a conversation about what they think is going to happen once they get to camp. Also, the kids on Luke's side said that basically Zeus cut off Iris messages because he found out that's how they were communicating. So Zeus knows something is going on right now. I just wanted to add that part in. But so Percy is thinking, and like we saw this scene at the end of last season when I thought it was Kronos with the light, but apparently it's Thalia, which of course from the promo pics. But we see her basically, electrocute Percy, and I thought it was kind of like indicative of the great prophecy, like she gonna be the one to like tear down or raise, Olympus. So I thought that was cool, and like the fact that we find out that uh dream that he's been having is actually about Thalia. So I thought that was really really cool. So in our last minutes, we basically see Luke having a conversation with Kronos, basically questioning Kronos as to why he didn't tell him that the fleece could bring back Thalia. And I feel like he knows the answer to that because I know the fucking answer to that. So it's just irrelevant that he's asking, but he is asking. And Kronos isn't happy that he's asking. And he basically forced headache this nigga. Like, he basically gave that nigga a force headache. Like, nigga, don't talk to me. Don't you dare question my fucking where your loyalties at, my nigga. Where your fucking loyalties? And I thought that was just crazy because it's just like, why is that? Like, why are you following this nigga? He is forced headacheing you. This shit makes no sense. But yeah, so we see that, and we also see the Lastrygonians lining up outside of Camp Half Blood, getting fireballs ready to throw. Once again, we see the Lastrygonians again, and we hear Luke basically narrating that they're about to bring war to Camp Half Blood. But we also have to realize that Camp Half Blood is literally trained for war. So next episode should be some real good fight choreography. So I'm really, really excited. Like I said, this episode wasn't that long, so we won't have a very long review, but I look forward to seeing you guys next week, Wednesday, 12 p.m. We gonna do the last and final fleece watch for this season. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for coming on this ride with me. Make sure you guys share this episode, share this video, like, subscribe, tell your friends to like and subscribe. Put everybody on who loves Percy Jackson and come hang out with me while I watch Percy Jackson. Small Time Hero. This is Small Time World. And I am thankful for you to come and watch my episode. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Holla at your girl.